All right, family. Peace to the family out there. Thank you for your patience as usual. Got a good show lined up. Peace to the family out there. Let me know if you can hear me, family, because Dr. B was having some difficulties hearing me just now. That's why we were a little late. Let me know if y'all can hear me, family. Y'all see I got my Wu-Tang hat on. I went to a Wu-Tang concert the other day, and I got the Wu-Tang hat on. Shout out to Wu-Tang. They made some great music in my childhood. Peace to everybody in the fam. Let me know. Okay, audio's good. Shout out to Wu Amun, my brother Wu Amun. They said, okay. Dr. B, they said the audio was good. Welcome back to the
Yes, good to be here, brother. How you doing?
see you in a while, man. How's everything been?
Man, everything's been crazy, man. Amazing. I've been in the studio putting the finishing touches on this new album, this new project. It is really it's amazing, man.
Excellent. Can't wait to hear it, my brother. Definitely can't wait to hear it. Shout out to everybody. I see everybody filling up in the chat. Uh yeah, see some of the regulars, see some new faces, some new names. Shout out to all of y'all. All right, so Dr. B, man, listen, y'all. I was talking to Dr. B the other day, and Dr. B talks about toxoplasma. But the way he goes in it on it, and he went a little deeper on toxoplasma while we was talking on the phone. And I'm like, Dr. B, man, I'm like, we gotta do a show. I need you to elaborate on this. When he talks about, well, I don't want to give it up, but I'll let you start it off, Doc. But this idea that ancient Kemet fell because of this very thing that we're about to talk about, and that even people we know have, symptoms of this very thing that we're talking about, and how impactful this thing we're talking about is. This is on a grand level. You talking about this thing could controls the archons. I was like, Dr. B, are they like the archons or something? He was like, no, they control the archons. I'm like, well, what the damn, Dr. B? Like, these are some bold statements you made. And one thing I want to say before we get started, when you bring up a certain animal that you're going to bring up, I know a lot of people. I got an occult channel, I got a metaphysical channel. A lot of the people, especially the women, are gonna feel some type of way because of what you're saying about what they have in the house and what they consider to be so spiritual and so holy. So I'm like, Doc, I hope you know what you're talking about. I've never heard it quite like this before. I need you to put your best presentation together, Doc. And if this is something we need to hear, then we here for it, and we ready to hear it, and we ready to make the necessary adjustments to be who we came here to be. The floor is yours, Doc. Let's have this talk. So you call them soul snatchers. You called it a spiritual drone warfare that's taking place, a technology that's happening where people and animals and certain things are being remote controlled for very low vibrational purposes. Doc, you got a little bit explaining to do. Very, very interesting topic. Let's get going with this thing. Dr. B, Sirius, welcome back.
In 1996, in September,
Yes.
we took our family, our mother and father, on a 50th anniversary, our whole family.
Mm-hmm.
And a storm, we were in the Bahamas,
Mm-hmm.
and a storm was coming. And the storm was coming kind of north of us. So we had to leave the island quick and go south. And south of the Bahamas is the Bermuda Triangle. On that trip, I'm not going to get deep into that, but something happened to me on that trip when we were in that vortex. And I was taken for several hours. In fact, I have the watch. My watch was fused at the time that I disappeared, or that I was taken, or I was gone. And I didn't come back till the sun was rising about 5 in the morning. I actually have the watch that I was wearing that is fused at one. What is this? 124. This is the watch. This is the actual watch. Used to be my favorite watch. I used to wear all the time. Great Timex. It had the sun, the moon, and stars. And this watch is fused on the inside. I took it to a jeweler, and they said it's like all melted together. All the metals have just fused together. I don't remember what happened. I just remember coming to. And when I came to, there were these numbers, equations, and what I now know as sacred geometry in my head. I felt very sick. I didn't know who I was, where I was. I couldn't breathe very good. And the only thing that kept me balanced was when I looked down in the water and saw dolphins going all the way around the Carnival cruise boat. That was the only thing. It's like they were talking to me. From that point on, I basically lost it. From that time. When I went back home, I was writing on the wall, writing on my hands. I was writing these two sets of numbers, and I was having all these like almost like premonitions. In fact, I kept smelling these smells, and I didn't know what this smell was. I never smelled anything like this, but every day I would smell this smell. I would hear sounds. I would hear frequencies. I would hear music, but it was like it was going backwards, but through a tunnel. I couldn't really operate as a regular person anymore. I was gone, and I didn't know what happened. And then I was told that I needed to go see this man, Dr. Kwaku Ando. So he was doing a lecture in Los Angeles, and he was doing a presentation about the prophecy on the wall in San Francisco. And as I'm sitting there, I don't know what's going on. I came maybe to hear about herbs. He's a great herbalist, a botanist. He's a Dogon priest. This man has so much knowledge, it's just vast. But he's not talking about herbs and healing. He's talking about this vision on the wall in San Francisco, on this retaining wall that's like 2 stories high, and I think it's about 2 miles or a mile or so long. On this retaining wall is concaved so that the water, when the high tide, doesn't wash the city away. You can't do any graffiti on this wall. You can't draw. You can't even hang out because it's guarded. He started noticing these figurines popping up on the wall, he and his wife, Callie. And they started taking pictures of these what looked kind of like cartoonish hieroglyphs, but they really couldn't have been drawn by anybody because you can't, this is guarded 24/7. But over so many days, these visions popped up. And when the tide went out, they could go out far enough to notice that this was the story of life on the planet. It was a pictogram with symbols, with beings, different beings coming, 5 different sets of humanity being born, and the fall and destruction over and over. And he mentioned 2 numbers. I'm not even going to say the numbers. And when he showed these numbers, they were star coordinates for Sirius and Orion. And I freaked out because that's what I'd been writing on the wall. But this experience changed me. And I was leaving the place because I was so upset about, I was just upset that I'd seen these numbers. I've been having this craziness. I'd snapped. I'd lost my mind. And he calls me out and he says, Dr. B, don't you leave without talking to me. And I'm trying to figure out how this world figure, this giant of a man who, he was Jimmy Carter, the president's botanist for a while. He's look him up, Dr. Kwaku Ando. He had a place called the North Scale Institute where he taught herbology and plants. This guy knows me, and he starts talking to me about this prophecy and this story about who I am. Fast forward. He says, did I have the formula yet? I says, what formula? He says, well, in the visions, they show you creating a formula. I said, a formula for what? To seal up the grid, to block these parasite beings from coming through, that have been coming through and snatching the souls and controlling the people for at least 6,000 years. These beings, which are like, they're interdimensional, they're cosmic, they work on all dimensions. They came to this quadrant of space, he says, and took over. and basically went to war with all the other beings that were here. So we hear about these other, groups of people that were here, the Tartarians, and it's just been many, many levels. The Lumorians, uh, uh, these beings basically go to places in space and planets, and they take over and they turn the people into basically slaves. They create separation. They create drama. They get tribes and families and people to be divided. They create this mass distraction and destruction. They slip in at a spirit soul level and take over the beings and take their personality and twist it and turn it until they have no idea who they truly are anymore. I'm listening to this and I'm like, wow, I could see this happening right now, the way we're so divided. Even, I don't care what group of people you talk about, there's still division within that. People have lost this concept of oneness. And, we do things to destroy our own, our own best interests. It's weird. So he says, it's your job to help break this spell. I'm like, how am I going to help break the spell? He says, well, you were given a set of instructions when you went to the vortex. Wow. Anyway, he says, you have been developing something in your sleep. I need to see it. And I went to him. I went home and I looked around. I'm in my laboratory because I'd been an herbalist for many years before that. And I found this formula, this bag with all these herbs in it. I'm like, who made this? I mean, I'm the only one with keys here. And I said, whoa, this is crazy. And I smelled it, and it had hints of the smell I'd been smelling. It had a very strange energy. So I called Dr. Ando. I said, Dr. Ando, I think I got something. I want you to see it. So he flies back from San Francisco down to Los Angeles. He grabs the bag and he goes, that's almost the formula. It's missing 3 things. Well, what are they? One is in the Nile, one is Native American, and one is Caribbean. Over the next 4 weeks, all 3 of those particular herbs popped up weirdly in my life. I won't get into this story because it's in my book that's coming out soon. I tell the whole story. But what happens is I take that back to Dr. Ando. He grabs the bag and just holds it and said, this is it. And he says, look up in the sky. Find the star that is blinking, the brightest one. I say, okay, I found it. He says, when it starts blinking red, white, and blue, that means it's connected to you and the message is complete. I'm looking at the sky, this star, and all of a sudden it starts blinking a very dim red, white, and blue. He said, that's your star. That's Sirius. From now, because back then they used to call me Dr. B. That was it. He says, from now on, you're Dr. B Sirius. It is your job to help get people to balance themselves so that they can detach from this evil matrix of these beings, the soul catchers that live on the dark side of the moon. They control almost everything in this realm. So all of the politics and war and religions and fighting and dissonance, they are doing that because they eat the essence of destruction. They eat the essence of fighting. There's a vapor that comes from us when we're in evil, when we're acting outside of our normal nature, when we're destroying each other and the planet. There's an essence that comes from us. I'm like, what? He says, yes. And he says, now go check out the movie They Live. So I went to watch They Live, and I don't know if y'all have seen the movie They Live. And he told me several things to go watch. And he said, these things are extremely close to the truth. We are being controlled by these beings. They've even divided tribes, broken up tribes on the continent. They've done a lot of things to cause tension and destruction so that they could eat this essence that we emit. I'm like, this is pretty deep stuff. I don't know, man. But this cat, he's breaking this down, and he's got dates and times. And he says also about 6,000 years ago, there were these things that landed all over the earth. And these things landed. They didn't fall. They landed. And once they came to the planet, they intensified this energy of destruction, this evil side. They amplified it. And around that time, this is the story, the Kemetic people, or the Egyptian people, whatever you'd like to call them, whatever's good for your tongue, they had crossbred the domestic cat. They really had a connection with cats because of the feline beings that live in another. There's a whole group of beings that are feline, that are our relatives. They had so much love and respect for them.
Lyrans.
Yeah, Lyrans.
Yeah.
These beings were really connected to them. So these Lyrans, which were also connected to the Sirians and the Orions, it's on and on and on. They began to make and crossbreed, because they were some of the first crossbreeders besides the later Chinese. They crossbred several animals to get the modern day cat. The cat has an interesting biochemistry or biology. It's different. It's not like a wild cat. It's not like the regular, natural cats. Its eyes, the pupil is straight up and down like a reptilian. Its mouth is kind of like the cobra. This is a man-made domestic cat, and that's why it doesn't eat you, and that's why it'll live around you. But normally, if it was a natural cat, you would not have it at home, because there would be no home, because you wouldn't be anybody to live in home, because they'll eat you. The Egyptians had more cat. The Kemetic people, they say, had more cats. In fact, they invented them. So there was thousands and thousands of them. The story is that this cat had the right biochemistry for a drone to be placed into this cat, so that the soul catchers could monitor the beings on Earth with this biological drone. This cat lives, or it starts its life inside this this drone. This being starts its life inside the domestic cat. They call it toxoplasma. It lives in the amygdala, or the amygdalae, which are two parts of your brain that help to balance and control emotion. So this is only in the domestic cat. It only starts its life in the domestic cat originally. When a woman is pregnant, the doctors, I don't know if they do this today, but they always say that your woman cannot be around, pregnant woman cannot be around cats, because cats cause the brain of the baby to not develop correctly.
That's facts. When my lady was pregnant, she couldn't be around. Yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
If you go get the kitty litter bag and turn it around and read on the back, is a warning about how to handle the kitty litter, because in the kitty litter and in the poop from the cat are particles or pieces. I want to say embryos, but this is a little different. It's a strange life of toxoplasma. And it can get into the dust. It gets into the environment. And it ends up in the brain of whoever smells it or whoever's around it. Strangely enough, toxoplasma causes the mice and the rats to not be afraid of the cat. They say, when the cat's away, the mice will play. Well, what happens is they play in the cat feces, and they're attracted to cat urine. Look this up, toxoplasma. And some people say, well, I don't have any cats. Just keep listening. You don't need a cat today. When the rats and mice play in the kitty litter and they're attracted to the toxoplasma, they snap. And all of a sudden, they're afraid of things that cannot hurt them. And they're not afraid of the cat. They don't even run when the cat comes. So it makes it easy for the cat to catch the mouse and the rat, because they don't even run anymore, because their brain has been rewired. What toxoplasma does is it changes the frequency and the balance between fear and love, and all emotions get scrambled because it connects directly to the limbic system. The limbic system has a lot to do with who you are, how you act, how you move. This particular parasite keeps beings in fight or flight and freeze. So you got fight or flight, which is, run, fight, but then it keeps a lot of beings in freeze mode where they don't do anything. How many of you have been in freeze for lots of years where, you know something's wrong, you know something's bad, you know something's scaring you, but you just freeze like a deer in the headlights? The toxoplasma, it got so powerful and it is spread across the world because the cats are pooping all the time. The rats are eating it. Birds might eat the rat poop or the cat poop. And now all of a sudden the animals have it. Certain animals, not all animals, because a lot of animals smell what they eat, but especially domesticated animals. I was told that domesticated animals, like especially certain cows, are kept domesticated by making sure there's toxoplasma in their feedlots. Factory farming. I'm like, what do you mean? So once we went to a factory farm many, many years ago, a guy snuck us in, and all over the floor is just, feces and urine. It's nasty. And guess what's there? Hundreds and hundreds of cats. Because wherever there's mice and rats, which is all over the feedlot, there's going to be there's going to be cats. And they're pooping. So the cows and chickens and pigs are eating the cat feces. So now, excuse me, now all of a sudden, the animal that eats the excuse me, I got to get my teeth. See, they choking me. See, they're messing with me. They don't want me to tell this story, brother. Excuse me. The animals that eat the toxoplasma become domesticated. They might moo and fight, but they don't ever run away. They never break away. They have to be fed. They have to be taken care of. They become sheep-like. In fact, all the domesticated animals, they're domesticated because they're domiciled because through animal husbandry, they don't have their natural senses. But some of them start coming back online, like the black sheep. But if the animals keep eating the toxoplasma, they don't run away. And they don't come together in one. They become separated. They become unconnected. Because, see, all of us have this special non-local subconscious connection. There's a non-local subconscious connection between all people, all humans. And animals have this same thing with each other. Insects, they all have this connection. Well, this parasite begins to break this connection so that we're not able to communicate on a soul level, on a root level. Our spirits get confused. This particular bug, Toxoplasma, has taken over most people's minds. They say 70% of the people now have it, whether you got a cat or not. So how do you get people, a few small people, to control the masses like this? You have to do something to interrupt their natural flow, their natural feelings, their natural instincts. They become disconnected from themselves. They even disconnected, check this out, from the head and the heart. How many people have this issue where your head and your heart is arguing? Your body and your mind is having a fight. There's very little symmetry. There's very little rhythm and harmony, even from day to day. Look how many people have mood swings like crazy. Bipolar. See, bipolar used to be simple. It's two of you either up or down. But now people got tripolar, pentapolar, quadrupolar, sextupolar. It's like you don't know what's going on. You even see it in government. One day they're saying one thing, the next day they're saying, they used to have one way that they were. You don't know really how people are going to react. And you don't even know how you're going to react because we're getting to the point of colony collapse. When the people and the beings are disconnected from source, they're no longer able to connect to source. That's what they used to call a sorcerer, a person that connected to source. I know you heard it was bad, but no, they made that bad. That was the church that started making those people bad. People that were connected to source, people that used nature and herbs and all those things. They became, bad and evil to the church because the church wanted you to go to them to get to God. You couldn't have a direct connection. So they talked you out of it and you believed it. How could just a few people control people and cause so much fear and destruction and get you to believe in some stuff that don't even make any sense? There's no common sense anymore. Now, a lot of people are going to look this up and they're going to say, oh, there's this disease called toxoplasmosis. There's a difference between having toxoplasma live quietly in your brain, controlling your life, and toxoplasmosis. Toxoplasmosis is almost like a bacteria where it's a part of the same being, but now you're showing a lot of physical symptoms and sickness. So a lot of you may have had this and called it the flu or whatever, but it may have been toxoplasmosis. But toxoplasma is known as the mind control the mind control parasite. A really good book on this subject is This Is Your Brain on Parasites by Kathleen McAuliffe. And let's listen to the subheading: How Tiny Creatures Manipulate Our Behavior and Shape Society. These bugs, the scientists of the past didn't want to believe that these little microscopic things could control us because we're big and we got egos and we can make bombs and guns and cars. How could these little things manipulate us? Because they live based on the hive mentality. But what I'm finding out is that Toxoplasma may have had another name. Watiko. Watiko. How do you spell it? Wetiko. Watiko. It is also called Wendigo, Watiko, Wendigo, Anemonem, Pneumona, not pneumonia, Pneumama. Yeah, it's hard to even pronounce some of these. The counterfeit spirit is also called the flyer, the vampire virus of the mind. It short circuits people's connection to self in the tribe or the group and promotes colony collapse. It causes people to self-sabotage, to live in fear and anger and self-destruct. It's a cancer of the spirit that eats each of us alive. This, they used to say, was a spiritual illness, an energetic illness that used to suck the soul out of people. They say almost every society, actually they say every society, every powerful society got to a crest. They got to a high point, and all of a sudden it began to self-destruct. The people began to do things that pulled them apart. Instead of coming together in oneness and being about we, it became about me. It became about ego, mind, money, control, power. They said that is a symptom of Watiko. There's a book written by Paul Levy called Watiko, and he has another one called Dispelling Watiko. And he did a lot of research, and they said this guy was crazy. There's no way in the world. But we see symptoms and signs of it all the time. If you look at all the ancient societies, what brought them down? What happened in Kemet all of a sudden? And I know a lot of folks got mad at me when I mentioned this years ago, and they threw me out of meetings. And you know what I'm saying? They said, Dr. B, you done lost your mind. These were the most powerful people in the world. Well, what happened? What happened? All of a sudden, some other folks just walked in and took over. The most powerful armies, the most strategic folks on the planet at that time. The word is that the Mayans begin to detect it, and they left. They say all the Mayans left at the same time. Poof, they got up out of here. They know how to transcend. They know how to go to other levels. They know how to leave. But most societies crumbled because of this being, or this thing, this energy, this entity taking over and dividing the people. Well, when I started studying Toxoplasma, I asked the question, could this be Toxoplasma? Oh, no, they're two different things. Well, you guys don't know, because you just, everything in science is a theory. Nothing is exact. You think that the science is definitely it, that scientists, they have their concepts and they can make some things happen and repeat it. But science is changing all the time. What is and what isn't is changing. This whole universe is strange. You get into the quantum world, the rules change. This, up is not down, back is not forth. So my concept that I am talking about in the book I'm writing right now is that Watiko, the ancient virus, the ancient vamp. It's like the vampire, a spiritual vampire that sucks the life force out of people, makes people become angry. It makes people become, they get into greed, and it's the selfishness, self-loathing and jealousy, envy, anger, fear. They create a concept of chronic victimhood. It's always a victim. Somebody else maybe do it. My idea is that Toxoplasma and Watiko are the same. And my teachers, several of them, even Little Chief Little Bear talked about this, that the indigenous people said that these beings on the dark side of the moon are controlling everything here. And the only way that you can become free of their control is to regain your soul. I was told that part of my job, part of my purpose here was to bring this information to the people and to learn and teach people how to dispel, how to get rid of and break the energy. Because the thing about it, it sounds really evil. How are you going to control them on the backside of the moon? They take over your mind. Let me go here. Have you ever heard of uriplasma? Somebody go look up uriplasma right now. People think they might hear toxoplasma. What the heck is uriplasma? You're going to see very little about it. Uriplasma is the cousin or the brother or the sister. If they have sex, they probably don't. Probably just they. Of toxoplasma. It lives in the urinary tract and in the reproductive organs. And it passes in women, it passes when it's in the vagina, it acts like a chronic yeast infection. No matter what you do, it keeps coming back. Because when you hit it in the vagina with certain things that are going to break down that candidiasis, it runs and hides in the urethra. Then they have urinary infection or urethrosis. Is that a one? Urethrosis. But it moves back and forth. And in men, it lives in the urethra. And my question was, wait a minute now. Are they related? Yes. As above, so below. Toxoplasma lives in the head. And this uriplasma lives in the root. Together, they will cause you to mate with people who you naturally would never mate with. Because when you met them, you probably had a gut feeling. How many people have done that? You met somebody, you had a gut feeling that something was off. Then they, took you out to eat and you went to eat the veggie lobster and all that. And, they showed you good things in a nice car and they had nice talk and they knew all the language of the consciousness. And, you got wooed. Then all of a sudden, the poo-poo hits the fan. And the real deep part of their subconscious comes online and you meet the real creature. How many times does that happen? But your gut told you. Your gut is attempting to reconnect you with your original self. But the food that you're eating, even a whole lot of your vegan man-made burgers and stuff with thousands of ingredients on it to make it look like meat, a lot of these foods are so toxic that your gut bacteria, your microbiome cannot act correctly because your microbiome, these creatures are connected directly to the cosmos. Certain ones they're just there to read the information in your environment. That's what they call the gut feeling. A lot of people don't have a gut feeling. They got to go online and look it up. What am I feeling? They don't know like our grandparents and people knew. Because they're disconnected. Their solar plexus is off. So toxoplasma and uriplasma and their cousin, they got a cousin. The cousin is named malaria. These three have people on lockdown. Now, malaria, you say, I don't have malaria. You may have because your ancestors probably had it. And you have the essence, the energy, or the miasma of that particular parasite still in your system. It may not be showing up with symptoms, but the symptoms sometimes are on a very root level, a very underground. It's like part of the shadow self. These things work inside you from the inside out. But as my teacher said, they're being controlled like drones from the dark side of the moon. They are the evil of the evil. And a whole lot of the beings that you talk about that came from other planets, why were they all fighting? Why was it all about wars? I asked Billy Carson, I said, man, why was all these people fighting? Anunnaki and this one and that. Why was all these wars? Why is everybody fighting all the time? Why can't we just mind our business and business our minds? What is that about? Because these beings, the soul catchers, they create war. They don't fight. They don't need to fight. They just tap into your essence. They just tie into your soul because there's a whole boundless psychology of the mind. In other words, your mind is connected to all minds. We're all connected. It's like an ocean. This connects us all. We're not separate. We think we're separate. You think it's me, me, me. No, it's we. You see, all women know you're connected. What happens? One woman, you got several women living in a house. One starts having a cycle. The other one, after a while, their cycles, they link up. How does that happen? They can't prove that scientifically, but it happens. Some of us can feel when something's happening in the environment. You could just tell. Some of us are still in tune because there's this unseen energy that connects us all. It's part of the quantum world. It's part of the Akasha. We're all connected. Now, if we're all connected and we're all living in this plasma, this energy, this fluidic space, then if something was to tap into that, if something of a very, I want to say a higher dimension, because you think that the low dimensions are bad, but this is a very high dimension of frequency so high you can't hear it. That means that the waves are very small. You can't detect it. So something tapping into that now can use all of us as slaves to have dislikes. Light skin, dark skin, this color, that color. This person's tall. They don't like the short people. Well, look at today. It's all about, the most attractive things for a lot of people is the movie with the most gore, the most drama, the most decadent scenes. Even in the news, it's all about who was bad. And, it's like who we want to, we want to just destroy somebody because we heard they were bad. We don't have no evidence. It's not even our business. They get you distracted. So we're under mass distraction. We're under virus of the mind. And the virus of the mind is taking us to the point where we think that's normal. And we think that, being separate and marching to somebody else's drum and, switching and code switching all the time and, shading on people, fighting, trying to prove who's better. Look at even in marketing. People nowadays, they very seldom talk about how good their product is. The thing to sell your product today for the average person is to talk about how bad somebody else's is, compare it to somebody else's. That's how you sell your thing, by saying theirs is bad. This is how you win in politics. They're bringing up all the stuff about a person's past. Man, you can't listen to him, man. He talking about he's a conscious leader, but he used to be a gangster. He used to be. What did you used to be? Everybody used to be something. But we want to hold that over people's heads, and we want to use that as fire to burn them, to hold their feet to the fire. And we want to cast the first stone as if we have done no harm. All of us are guilty. All of us are guilty of being part of a system that is controlling us. But how do you stop it? You stop using the word me so much. Me. Just listen to the sound. Me. Just do that. It vibrates. Now you do we, woo, we. That W does not have that energy. It doesn't have the frequency of So we're toning at that point. We are musical instruments. We are part of an orchestra, but for the most part, we're out of tune. So you're an instrument in the orchestra, and you always singing off note. You can't remember the lyrics. You ain't tuned up. You want to be the loudest one in the room, the loudest one, the first one to get there. You want to eat more and have more and show more and be more than everybody else. That is not natural. It is not natural for us to be so distant from each other. So the way we begin to break and dispel this connection is to start coming together. They use the subconscious. The subconscious mind is where all your stuff is buried. All the stuff. Look, your conscious mind is aware and can process 7 individual bits of information a second. 7. So that's your senses and what you want, what you desire, who you think you are today. 7 individual pieces of information a second is what your conscious mind can process. The calculation is that the subconscious can process up to, or at least, not up to, at least 13 million computations a second. It knows everything. It remembers everything. And it's like a librarian, so it doesn't judge the information. It just files it. And it files it in these cabinets, and it's in you. That book is in the library of your life. And the subconscious is called the body mind. It lives in your body. It lives in your biology. The issue is in your tissue. You think it's in your head. So a lot of times, we want to fix our subconscious with our conscious mind. That's why it's really hard to do, because the conscious and the subconscious don't even speak the same language. The subconscious don't talk. It doesn't know what your words mean. It listens to your frequency, to your tone. It's picking up information from how you act and how you move, because your thoughts become your words become your actions harden into character. How you act. You see, something may have gone and you've gone awry in your life. You may have had some drama, and it was a mood. You was in a bad mood. Did you know if you have a mood for 28 days, that mood becomes a temperament? If you now keep a temperament or have a temperament or allow a temperament for 3 months, it becomes hardened into character. That's who you are. You're temperamental. You're triggered. How many of you out there are triggered? You watch the news and they say something and you get triggered. Like you could believe the news. As if the news has ever told you anything totally factual. When has the news ever told you the truth? And why is the news all about the disagreeable? And they got to show you how bad it is. The newscaster told me, he says, well, the news story that bleeds is the one that leads. Why is it like that? Where's the good news? Because all this energy creates this essence, this miasma. It creates this thing that these beings eat this particular essence. So when we go opposite and we start having more love, more connection, being more kind, all of a sudden you begin to break the spell. But we also need some help, because you've got to break the spell these parasites got on us. And everybody's got them. I don't care. Oh boy, I don't have no parasites, Dr. B. Just by you saying that means that you do. Who's talking for you? Who are you? A lot of us don't even know who we are, because actually your cellular structure has more beings that are not you than you. There's more biological entities, bacteria, and all these different things that make you up. You're not alone. You're a universe. We're a universe. And unless we become more focused and more clear about who we are, we get funny. Now, Brother Rich. Where's Brother Rich? Is he still online? Brother Rich. He's gone. The cat's got him. We now have the tools.
Doc, I'm here. I muted myself. That's why you couldn't hear me. What's up, Doc?
Before I go to that, I want to. Would you like to tell the story about you and the cats?
Man, yeah. Well, I told the story before. When I moved to Brooklyn, I would say this is right before my son was born. So this was 2016 or 2017. It might have been 2017, I think. And I was in Harlem, and shout out to Kev, had a cat, and his brother named Kev had a cat, and it was like a baby cat. It was an adorable cat. And I told my lady at the time, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this cat here. Showed her the cat on the FaceTime on the phone. Like, cat was adorable. So I brought the cat home, named the cat Corey. Cat name was Corey, little Corey. Started getting cat food, all types of stuff like that. I would say within a week, and I told this story before, within a week of having a cat, oh man, I got sick as a dog. I ain't know what was going on. I remember distinctly calling Cafunia and asking, I was so, you know what I remember? Not being able to breathe. And it was like, I was like, yo, why can't I breathe? Yo, I'm like this. And my issue with my life has always been other people don't seem to get affected by the shit I get affected by. So when you're young, you think you just weak. You think that's a weakness you have. And you like, why everybody else don't get affected by this shit? But anyway, I remember Cafunia was telling me, I don't even think Cafunia remember, but I don't know, and she might be in the chat. Shout out to Cafunia if you're in the chat. She told me to get peppermint essential oil. So I got peppermint essential oil, and I will put it on my pillow, and I will just continuously breathe it. And I don't know how we figured out it was the cat. Somehow we figured out it was the cat real fast. We noticed that was the only thing that changed around the household. And we looked it up about being allergic to a cat. And we seen that there's actually something where people take shots so that the cat won't bother them. That naturally a person will be allergic to a cat. Some people, not all y'all. But if you want to still have the cat, because some people want a cat that bad, they'll give you a shot. So my girl would tease me. She'd be like, nigga, I'm going to give you that shot, nigga. She'd be like, I'm going to give you that shot. But I was like, we figured out it was a cat. And we had to get rid of the cat, man. We got rid of the cat. We gave the cat away. And immediately I felt better. But in my mind, I was just like, yo, I can't even be around a fucking cat. I'm like, ooh, I used to be like, man, thank God I ain't got no witch. I ain't with no witch, man. Because they'll be mad like a mother. I can't be around no cat. And they living with me, man. So I'm like, I dodged that bullet. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the cat thing, it was a short experience. It didn't last long. I just remember not being able to breathe, Doc. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? And I remember Cafunia telling me about the essential oil, and I got rid of the cat. So when you told me that, when you came last year or 2 years ago and started talking about that, I was like, he might be on to something about this. So yeah, that's it. That's it though, Doc. That's it.
See, the interesting thing is some people get upset really quick because we have a very strange relationship with animals. Yeah. We love our animals. That's my animal. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. But we have to get to the point where we start looking at things in a way where we're non-emotional. And I'm not saying that you should get rid of your cat, because some people are allergic to cats. They are allergic to the cat. There's something about the saliva or the breath of the cat. It's not necessarily the cat that I'm talking about. I'm talking about this parasite that lives in the gut of cats, Toxoplasma. That's where it lives. It doesn't live in any other animal. Actually, I shouldn't say it doesn't live in any other animal. It only can, it procreates inside of the gut of cats, not wild cats. It's just domestic cats. You know, Doctor, what's his name? I'll have his name in a minute. But there's a doctor. He's one of the top biologists in the world. And he talks about this. He says, do you know, I don't know if I should say this on the air. Let me muscle test and see. All right, they say it's okay. They're saying that Toxoplasma is injected into certain people, especially people who need to fight other people without question. Say in the military, bombs are dropping, guns are going off, and you run into fire. You know, naturally you wouldn't run towards bombs. What would make you do that? What would change your brain? Well, you're protecting your country. And you've told this and you believe that you're protecting your country, but you didn't ask any deeper questions. You're just doing what they told you to do, to be a strong person or to be righteous or to be whatever. There's a lot of things that we ended up doing that we should not be doing, but we didn't question it because authority figures, they got us pumped up and to do these things. To go kill somebody else and to have no feeling towards life and just destroy and burn houses and families and drop bombs, and even from drones, just drop bombs on whole neighborhoods and hospitals. What would make you do this? And what would make the average person just go along with it and just see it on TV and then be desensitized over time? Well, they're always fighting. There is a natural connection between us all. And we do feel it, but we cover it up because a lot of our emotions have been interrupted. The things that we should be attracted to, sometimes we're not attracted to anymore because we've been programmed. Our subconscious is a part of this too. Your subconscious mind can act like a saboteur and cause you not to find your best self, not to be your best self. It'll stop you. It'll get you into to relationships that you shouldn't even be in. It'll have you mating and having a job that you got. Some people have more talent than the CEO of the corporation, but they work down in the mailroom or they just do this work because something in them has them not tapping into their true strength. Not everybody. I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying a lot of us know that there is something else going on for us. We have another potential, but something's blocking it. Like we got bad luck. If something goes bad, man, something always goes bad. What did the man tell me? He said, man, if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have none at all. I mean, what is that? The language of disempowerment is huge. People speak in a language that blocks them. They talk. Here's another symptom of toxoplasma. You ready? 90% of your conversation is about the problems. You very seldom have solutions. Think about that. How many people just talk about how bad it is and who's controlling things and who's the enemy? And that's their language most of the time. And if you start talking to them, you all optimistic, man. You got that whole optimism thing, man. They see the world as half empty. And that's because these beings, these things that are sucking off your natural vitality and your vibrancy are controlling you and keeping you down. But I found out that there was a whole solution that I had been creating to help your body begin to change its biology, not by killing the parasites. That's what we think. We got to kill the parasites. Bro, these beings, you kill some, you kill 20, and you made 20,000. You can cut a worm up in 5 parts, and now you got 5 worms. I killed them all. I took these herbs that were, I'm telling you, you can't do it with just herbs. These are biological entities, from a whole nother space. Some of them are operating out of time. They're on different timelines. They're connected to all of you, the old you, the new you, the young you. So you have to trick them. There's a way to get in to actually change the frequency of the body without them knowing. The best time to do this is when the sun crosses the equator and when the sun goes to the highest point and stops, called the solstice, and it goes to the lowest point in the sky and stops, the winter solstice. So you got the winter solstice and the summer solstice. This is happening right now, y'all. That's why I'm talking about this right now, because right now they're changing the guards because the old parasites, the parasites from the spring, are going to bed. There's another group waking up. So I'm talking about the biological entities in your body. They're connected to these other entities, and toxoplasma and all of them all work together. Meanwhile, your friendly bacteria, your gut microbiome is trying to balance your system 24/7. But a lot of you don't have enough iron. Where are you getting your iron from? You got to have a lot of iron to have courage, to have confidence. To even wake up your original brain, it takes iron. There's very little iron in the soil. So your little greens and all that stuff, they might have a little iron, a little, it's not enough iron for you to run the system. So you don't have enough oxygen. You can't transport enough nutrients to your cells because you're weak in iron. So that's why, herbs like sarsaparilla and nettle and things like that, and even burdock and some of the root vegetables that you get in the winter, they have a lot of iron if they're grown in an iron-rich soil. But a lot of your food that might have the potential to be powerful and have iron wasn't grown in iron-rich soil. It was grown in a what? A farm, a mechanical industrial farm where they just fed it these certain nutrients to fake it into living. You need iron. Iron is really important for you to have the courage to break free. Because when you start going through this detoxification, you got to have courage because these parasites will make you stop. They're controlling your life. You think you're bad. You think you're good because you got all this consciousness. You know all about the ancient people. People know all about the ancient people, but their life right now is in shambles. What good is that? What about right now? What can we build right now? What can we build together right now? Who can we be together right now? So I realized that I was moved into creating a powerful parasite detoxification program. And remember, you can't just cleanse. You must rejuvenate at the exact same time. Cleansing is weakening you. Okay? So this program, this 28-day program, which works in the moon cycle, because these parasites live in a moon cycle. Even the ones on the back side of the moon, they all operate in a circadian rhythm, a moon cycle, because they're connected to the moon. The moon is not what a lot of people think it is. So, one is to detox the physical body and to strengthen the physical body so it can begin to boost and bolster the immune system. Number two, balancing the subconscious. How did I end up studying both of these? I didn't get into herbs for business. I got into herbs to help save my own life when I was really sick. How did I end up studying the subconscious? Somehow I bump into Dr. Bruce Lipton on the internet, and he starts breaking down this whole thing with epigenetics and realizing that the genes really are not creating the expression that you think they are. They're not doing what you think. They're taking on the environment. If the environment is angry, if your environment, because the environment of your body has to do with your thinking and your acting and your eating, everything is creating an environment in your body. Even if you think you're eating all vegan and you perfect and you got egos and stuff, and you're talking about who's not eating vegan and you're pointing the finger, the environment in your body has a frequency. The music is off. I don't care how much yoga you do and you got your singing bowls and all that. That don't mean nothing. Because at the root, down in the dark part of you, down in the distant basement, in the foundation, there's this other stuff working. And you feel very successful. And it's just something for your mind, just to feel good. You see? So we found that also when you begin to rebalance the subconscious mind, because the subconscious is what the soul catchers are using. They're connected to that unseen, non-local energy that connects us all. They tap right into that field. That field, right? It begins to act, and it doesn't want to kill you. It'd like you to live in pain and, you know what I'm saying, and be suffering all the time and mad all the time. And do your prayers and your mantras and all that and get up in front of the people and be all positive and post positive things and then be angry with yourself and be upset and hurt. And always talking about the trauma, what had happened, living in the past, what happened to you. And we know you go see the psychiatrist. What do? They reinforce the past and give you some pills to shut your brain down. Why? Because that energy, which is pervasive in the modern medical system, I mean, why is it? Who would have took over the system, and just, it's crazy. Have you read this book? Really good book. This black doctor wrote this book called Legacy. A black physician reckons with racism in medicine. Anchi Blackstock. MD. Get this book. This book is crazy. They start breaking down what doctors had to go through, what made them, how these people took over the medical system and began to get rid of, kill, arrest, and burn all the natural doctors, all the drugless doctors, all the herbalists, all the midwives, and call them witches. They're bad, they're evil, they're witches.
Rockefellers, right?
It's the Rockefellers. Yeah. The Rockefellers. They rocked everybody's fella. All the fellas got rocked, and the sisters too. What would make you go along with that? And make you believe that these folks really know what they're doing. Now, they're really good in emergency medicine. I'm not saying to just get in, try to put some cayenne on your leg that came off. Let them sew that sucker back on. Just make sure they dish the right leg because, sometimes they make a mistake and, we won't go there. But all of this was what? To control your mindset, to believe in them. And not have a direct connection with the Most High, not have a direct connection with herbs and plants and medicines and soil. We've been disrupted so much. The key thing here is that the energy of the earth, Brother Rich, is speeding up. Please look this up. The earth is spinning faster than ever. The molecules, right, are vibrating at a higher rate than they've ever seen them. Even the North Pole is shifting. It's no longer pointing to the North Star. Compasses are changing, which means there's a great change going on. Because the beings that have been controlling us have been basing everything on the way we were. We're changing. We're getting off the farm energetically, but we got to get off the farm mentally. Our bodies and our frequency is changing. There's more knowledge, more consciousness, more connectivity of people, right, that can get on the internet and talk and, speak from all over the world. And you get to see truths and things along with some lies. We're actually at another level, but we have to consciously know this. We got to come together. But what we have to do is we got to go down into the subconscious basement. And we have to get down into the core. The core is deep. The core is where all your stuff is at. And even though you feel that you've done your mantras and all this stuff, you still may not have access to the core. I was trained in how to access the core of the subconscious. There's techniques out there. And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time and mentioned Dr. Bruce Lipton and mentioned that I was a teacher at UCLA at the time. And I was let into this class where they broke it all the way down. How they control everything by controlling the subconscious. I got a certificate in this technique that changes everything. Because see, one thing that you need to know, you have to know that something is going on underneath. And be ready and willing to let it go. And be ready to invest in this because this is going to change everything. Because I can guarantee there's a governor on every one of your activities. There's a suppressor or a compressor on every one of our activities. Even Dr. B. None of us are doing what we could be doing, what we should be doing. So we got to break that spell. So there's a process that we can do in groups. Because, for many years, I saw people, individual clients, and I did the subconscious alignment technique. But there is something that we can do in a group. It's called the core access exercise or experience. I'm sorry. Core access exercise. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep saying it wrong. The core access experience. Where we take a group of people and this group of people, we connect them through this guided meditation. It's a very specific type of guided meditation. It's got to be kinesthetic, auditory, and visual. Because the key to getting your subconscious to reprogram itself is to make sure that it is the repetition of pleasure and pain. The repetition of pleasure and pain is what programs and causes your subconscious to lock in. But also, each activity's got to be kinesthetic. That means your body. Because the subconscious is the body mind, kinesthetic, auditory, and visual. That means we can't just picture the thing that we desire to be or like to create. You have to feel it as if it's already happened. Then you got to figured out the frequency and the sound and the tone which comes with music. This is why I created these instruments, these medicine drums. They're not like the singing bowls. They're not like any other instruments there are. There are some ancient instruments that is based on, but we use this instrument to tonify your body because, as I said earlier, we are instruments. We're an orchestra. This frequency, these sounds begin to tune us up. We're close with this whole thing about 432 and 528, but that's only a few of the frequencies. What about 417? I could go on and on about all these different frequencies that actually our body is resonating and putting out, but they're distorted. Our energy is distorted. When we meet people, we already have a perception of who they are by how tall they are, how big they are, what they're wearing, how they're acting. So we can't really meet the person because we've already prejudged them. Oh, that's such and such, Oh, man, blah, 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 blah. And people start telling you who they are. We don't really know each other. None of us. Because everybody is like an actor and a character in the movie, and you act a certain way with certain people, certain times in certain places. So when we do this connective, this group consciousness exercise, we use this instrument to take you into the theta state instantly. You don't have to learn how to meditate and all the breathing and all that. It goes right past that, right to the core. This process that's done, it's done within an hour. Walks us down into the core of our subconscious, and it hits the back door of every file in the filing system of the subconscious. Because you can't go down there into your 5-year-old self. There's like a closet, a room, right? And that room is where that memory or that exercise or that experience is hidden. Every experience, it creates a filing system. Every experience has its own room. And the energy of that moment, whatever happened, what colors, what smells, what sounds, everything is stored in there and it's locked. And then you, to protect yourself from ever having to go in that room again, right? You create a guardian. That guardian is like the bodyguard. If anything pops up, no matter what age you are, that smells and looks and tastes and feels like the energy of that event that was disagreeable, the guard locks up. And it begins to have you act out a certain way. You go into fight mode. You want to protect yourself, fight, flight, or freeze. You are being triggered by something that's subconscious. So subconscious, it's not conscious. You didn't know why you're acting this way and why you keep failing and why you keep, doing what you're doing to stop yourself from being at your peak performance. So the question was, Brother Rich, I'm going to go down to my 5-year-old self. They're going to take me on this trip and this journey through this process. And you go up to the bodyguard that stands at the door, the guardian, and you knock on that door and say, can you let me in? And the guardian says, who are you? And you say, I'm you. You're not. You're not the same person. You don't sound the same. You don't look the same. You don't smell the same. Your biology is different because every 7 years, your entire body is brand new. Every cell is being renewed. You're getting a new lungs and new guts like every month. Your tissue is changing all the time. You're not the same person. You might have some of the same memories and the same ideas. So you're not the same person that can get in that file. So you can go do all kind of processes, but how are you going to get in that file? Guess what? Every hard drive, every data bank has a back door. When we learned this back door, it changed everything. How to get in those files and clean them out. Because there's a certain amount of boxes or luggage down in your subconscious. Like you hear me say a lot of times, travel light. Because most of that luggage you're carrying, most of those memories are not even yours. They were given to you, passed down, hand-me-downs from the family. You don't even know they're down in the hull of the boat because your body's a system. It's like a ship. So how are you going to remove some stuff from your subconscious that you don't even know what it is? With this process, this core access exercise, we can go in and we can remove not all of the junk because you can't get it all out. Your subconscious was shut down. You can only remove a certain amount of this toxicity, this stuff in these boxes without locating it. We don't need to know what's there. And we are able to take these boxes, this luggage that is locked out of the subconscious, and destroy it. It's huge. So we decided that we were going to do one of these here in Atlanta. So next Sunday, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, we're going to do a core access experience for those who would like to be involved. Now, somebody says, well, Dr. B, what's this got to do with the soul catchers? Because the soul catchers are tied to those dark memories that you can't even totally recall. And even if you can recall them, you can't recall the whole thing. And you can't disconnect it. You can't just forget it. Even hypnosis, when I was learning hypnosis for a little while, we were learning this, I was taking a hypnosis class. The problem is that, okay, we can deal with this for a little bit, but it's like the grass grows up through the sidewalk. It comes back. How do we break it all the way down so that we become a different person at the core? Because when you become a different person at the core, then the plant itself, you as a plant, because your brain is like a seed, as Dr. Mahdi says, and your roots, right? Your roots are your nerves. In order to fix the fruit, you gotta what? Feed the root. This stuff that we got going on is at the root. We have processes now that actually work very well for accessing our subconscious roots down in the dark matter. Well, I've done ayahuasca and mushrooms and all that. Okay, so how does it work for you? I want to know. I know a lot of people that have, they're ayahuasqueros. They do ayahuasca church. What's changed? Do I feel better? What has changed at a quantum level in your life? Because some of us, we do things, but we don't have all the tools. We don't know all the tools. We think we know. We read books and we say the word spiritual and we say all this stuff, but that's all in the conscious mind. The subconscious is a whole nother creature. And these beings, the soul catchers, are betting that your subconscious will never be tapped into and changed and shifted. So they control you at the root. Because a lot of those habits and things that you have, they operate down in the id. The id is the basic you. The id is the part of you that you don't even know the id. That's a whole thing. So what we're now doing is creating these circles where we're taking people through this particular exercise using sound and frequency. So it's a sonic immersion technique, but at the same time, it's a guided meditation. Then we tap into something called the 7 directions. You even know what the 7 directions? Did you know there were 7 directions? Did you know that there's this pranic energy working through your body that you can control? And if you know how to take the 7 directions and the pranic energy and the vibration and the tone and the frequency and put it all together in a group, the whole group changes. On the West Coast, we did several of these. The people who did this experience in the past, some of you may still be on here right now, their lives changed drastically. Because you disconnected from the soul catchers on an energetic level. Then if you did the cleansing and the detoxification, it broke off the biology that was keeping you in your old junky, trashy self that's down in there. We all have waste. And just because you cleanse for a week don't mean nothing. There's still waste. So we are actually helping people break this spell. And I know tonight we don't have a lot of time, but on Saturday, this Saturday, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. This Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm doing a free a free talk on who or what is really in control. The connection between the subconscious, parasites, the solstice, and mind control. What's the solstice got to do with it? Ain't we in the solstice right now? The reason why I'm able to even talk about this like this right now, because there's an opening, there's a gap. There's a gap. If you understand the rhythm, if you understand the frequency, the band that was playing all that hardcore crazy music took a break. and we're able to begin to grow. A lot of you can feel when the solstice and the equinox, when those happen, because there's a gap, there's a change, because now the sun is, is changing its frequency. The earth is changing its frequency. So when you learn to shift with the planet, and right now, because the earth is speeding up, a lot of people are losing their footing. How many of you are having these symptoms where you're getting dizzy and you lose it for a minute, or you're having this up and down, back and forth, you're emotional, and then you're not, and then you're totally, you're trying to figure out what's happening because the earth is changing. This is we're in the time of the 55th gene key, where we crawl up out of the swamp. We've lived in a swamp for at least 6,000 years. We've been under control for at least 6,000 years. We've been divided and broken and whipped and beat. And a lot of us are angry, and you've been kicked and beat. But guess what? You didn't fight back like you could have, because you didn't know what to fight. You didn't know where the enemy was. And a lot of times the enemy is in us. You can have all the knowledge in the world and read all the books and know all about sacred geometry. But guess what? What can you do with it? What's the real power that we have? I remember they were talking about all of us were going to get together and do a meditation, and the witches and the warlocks and all these folks was going to do a meditation so that such and such couldn't become the president. I think we helped them become the president, because this stuff that we got that we think is so powerful is symbols. It's symbols of something great, symbols of something that is powerful. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying it's symbols, but you got to turn the symbols into activity. The soil is not the same as our ancient people. The air is not the same. The food is not the same. So we may not have the same power, but guess what? We got something that they didn't have. We have this new mind. We have more brain cells that are online right now, and we could use them in a different place. I'm not saying we were smarter. I'm saying that we're here at a time when the entire planet's vibration is speeding up and the whole planet is changing. Between now and 2027, this whole thing shifts. This is the polar flip happening right now. It's raining every day in many cities. When does it rain every day? Every day it's raining.
Hurricane. It rain every day for like damn 2 months down here in Georgia, man. I was just talking about it today. Like, yo, it rains every day. What's going on? Feel like I live in Seattle, man. Shit.
Places like Seattle, somebody told me the sun was out for a week. The sun was out. Where's the clouds?
Somebody told me real quick. I'm sorry. Somebody tell me what happened to the rainbows. When the sun is out, then it rain. Don't the rainbows supposed to show up? I've been hearing all types of stuff lately. I'm sorry, Doctor. Be good.
The bottom line is nothing is the same. So what we're saying is that there are key things. Like as I'm talking, there are key things that I'm saying. I'm not giving the whole picture because I can't. You got to codify everything. Certain people are picking up on what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. See, a lot of people want it easy today. They just want an app to tell them how to be conscious, an app to tell them what to do in the relationships, an app to tell them what to eat. You should know what to eat and what not to eat, not based on what this says, based on your feeling around the food. But if you're cut off from your feelings, you need an app. You know what I'm saying? And you become an appaholic to control your life. This means that you are the artificial intelligence. It ain't the computer, it's you. You tapping into that. But there is an internal intelligence that's ready to come online. So this Saturday, we're going to talk about what's really controlling us. And I'm going to give you some key things, some products that can help you. They don't fix anything. They help you get more in control of your life. That's the first part. If you're ready to go to that next level, the next week, next Sunday, we're going to do this process that I've never done on the East Coast. I've only done them on the West Coast. The Core Access Experience. We're going to do it not too far from Stone Mountain. You know, I think a lot of y'all are going to be in town. Y'all going up the mountain on Saturday, right, brother? Brother Rich? Brother Rich is gone again.
I keep mute. I'm sorry. I keep hitting the mute. My fault. Yeah. Stone Mountain Saturday, and you doing this on Sunday.
Yes, Sunday from 12 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're doing it at the Fairfield Inn If you'd like to get tickets, you can go to elevationtime.com to sign up. There is an early bird special. This is a very special thing. Everybody's not going to be able to make it to this. Not everybody's even ready for this. And there's not a lot of space because we couldn't get a big room. And you can only do certain numbers of people like this because the energy that comes out of us at this point is deep. It is like going down and getting a whole bunch of trash out and vaporizing it. I guarantee you've never done anything like this before in your life. So that's the core access experience. That's going to be Sunday, June 29th from 12 until 4. And guess what? We just found out we got extra time so y'all can hang out and meet. We're going to have a meet and greet, shake hands. We're going to come together as family because every time we do this, the people that do it become family. It's like you become connected on an unseen level. You become, it's like all the stuff we've been working on to get to high consciousness. This is it. But you come together as a family and as a unit. And guess what? The soul catchers cannot deal with us coming together on one frequency, on one note, on one rhythm. They can't deal with that. Your body begins to come online. We begin to wake up the ancient part of us, that togetherness, that oneness vibration. So when you hear the rhythm I'm going to play, there's a special rhythm that I'm playing with this drum. And there are rhythms that I learned as a child when I studied with a lot of the brothers from the continent. There's tones and frequencies and rhythms that change everything. So we're going to be using those rhythms and those sounds and that tone. We're going to be taking folks on this journey into the self. This is a group subconscious alignment. I don't know any other process that's this powerful. And to do it as a group, it's going to just bring us all more together so that we can break the spell of this Watiko. This toxoplasma begins to vibrate differently because you begin to, it doesn't kill for toxoplasma, but when you begin to move against in opposition to the thing that it wants you to do, it starts losing power. And then we use the cleanse to get rid of it. And we'll have some products there too for folks who are interested. Brother Rich?
Yes.
So, the cats. The cat is not the problem. The cat is what carries the problem. And the cats now are not, it's past the cats. It's most of the animals and most of the people, even birds. This is why you see flocks of birds flying the wrong way. And fish all of a sudden just beaching themselves and millions of fish just popping up and just dying. Because these bugs, these super bugs, are causing things to lose their nature. You see, we're losing our nature all up and down the East Coast. And in Florida, you have the brown tide and the red tide. Look that up. I don't know if you want to go in the water around America right now. Any of the water, because it's all toxic because of the waste material from the stuff we've eaten. The microplastics. They find microplastics in people's brains now. Babies born with plastics coming out the womb because we're so tied into this artificial plastic pseudo world. But this is the best time to break the spell. And I'm going to say this and let you take it, Rich. People want to know, why is it all this evil? Why is it these bad bugs and all this evil stuff? You have to have it. You have to have its opposite. Everything must have an opposite. You can't have up without down. You can't have good without bad. It's impossible. The best are always tested the most. The best will be tested. It's up to you to make a choice and a decision for yourself. And not always looking for other people's, validation. Oh, y'all gonna go? I'm gonna go too. If you're called to go, you need to be there. If we're talking about opening up a vortex, we're talking about opening up a wormhole next Sunday. Oh man, come on, Doc. But no, I'm not telling you, trying to convince you. I'm telling you what we're doing. We're inviting those who can hear the call. Since you went up the mountain on Saturday, now let's go down into the basement because now you have opposition. As high as you can go, as low as you can go. You got to have both. the macrocosm and the microcosm. And we're going to make this an easy process. It's not going to be where you got to study forever. And if you're not feeling it, that's okay. But we're going to tap in at a level where we're going to send out information 360 degrees, and it's going to hit the whole planet. And we all have the power to do that because we're all a part of this non-local energy that connects us all. We're really living in oneness.
Dr. B, I was on the phone with you yesterday, and we was talking about words, the etymology of certain words, and how do we start using certain phrases, and like where do these phrases and slang come from? They must have some type of origin. If you're talking about cats, and one of the words used for cats is "come here, little pussy cat," and we also know that is a word used to describe female genitalia. How did the female genitalia and the cat get the same name, pussy?
It has to do with reproduction. Have you noticed the hypersexuality that's happening right now in music and in everything? Mm-hmm. When you get people hypersexual, they're mating and causing this thing to travel from person to person to person. You saw the movie Fallen with Denzel, right?
Yeah.
So what happened in the movie? He had something, and the people would touch, and it would just travel like a virus through the whole community. That's what this is. It's the same. They tell you it's a lot of information in the movies. The movies are like soft disclosure, and these television shows, they dropping it. That until we break the spell, we allow ourselves to be controlled by a non-physical entity. You could call it evil. You can call it the devil. It's just opposition. It doesn't have more power than you unless you give it that power. We give things power because we a lot of us live in fear, and we speak the language of fear. Even anger, and when you're angry, that's fear. That's a type of fear. We got to get back to love. How do we become lovers again? Why is it they're allowing so much hypersexuality in music? If you was a female rapper, wow, this is what you got to do? You have to be famous, to get noticed. You have to. And this is what the children are listening to. So they're hypersexual. It means that it gives no more energy to true love. It's basic. It's not even animalistic, because the animals wouldn't do this. Because this is how you collapse the civilization. You see, this is social collapse disorder. You're seeing the end of this world. It can't go no further. It's over. What we're seeing now is the vapor. We're seeing the miasma. We're seeing the dust of an old world. It's holding on tight, so it seems strong, but we're actually in a whole new world. And when two worlds and two ages are upon each other and they begin to move away from each other, there's a whole lot of turmoil and turbulence. We're feeling that turbulence. Even with us people that, are in the wellness community. I'm like, what did they say? Well, Dr. B, they said that you blah, blah, blah. Why are they talking about me? Well, Dr. B, I hope you know, but, brother such and such over there. But what? Why are we divided? Why aren't we having think tanks and coming together in one? Why is it always about getting it on film? We need to film it. We need some things we got to do in secret. Leave the phones out. Put the phone in a copper bag, or what they call those. They got those shields now for your phone. What do you call them, Brother Rich?
I forget the name. I know what you're talking about. Shit, what's the name, y'all? The thing you put on your phone.
It's called a. I'll have it in a minute. But we got to leave the phone off. We got to turn off some of these electronics. These electronics that we're using now, they use so much. They create so much discourse, so much disharmony. We got to at least take a pause. I'm not saying don't use them. I'm saying we got to take a break, because you're being controlled by that thing. It's listening. I don't care if it's off. You want to be that connected to the system? It's listening. And now that you got AI on the internet, it knows everything on the internet. Somebody the other day said, well, I was asking the AI about God. How could the AI know about God? That's people, what people have said. It collects what people have said about what they call God, which is this. You can't even perceive how powerful the supreme creator is. You can't even know it. You can't even speak its name.
You about to start preaching. I feel it.
You can't even, all this about, God talked to me. What did it say? Whose voice was it in? This brother was telling me all about the Bible one day. I said, well, the question is in the beginning, right? There was the heavens and the earth. I said, who wrote that down? What do you mean? Well, who wrote that? Who was there to witness that, to write that God was doing? Who? What? Well, now, see, brother, you getting deep. No, I'm just asking questions. I'm saying that's man. It's okay. I'm not saying that don't have your beliefs, but philosophy, Philosophy was one of our biggest holdbacks, one of our biggest problems, because we got these philosophies that we believe, and it don't be no facts. The fact is that this system is collapsing. We're going through colony collapse disorder right in front of us. And that's when you take a beehive and you interject something, a piece of plastic or some alcohol or something in the beehive that changes the frequency of the beehive, or you do something to the queen, You do something to the queen where you begin to make the queen sick, and the whole hive collapse. What have we done to the woman? What have we allowed to happen with women? What are women doing to each other, to themselves? And what are we males doing to the women? And what is it to be a woman? What is it to be a man today? These concepts, where are they coming from? Well, to be a man, you're supposed to such and such. Forget voice all deep, I'm a real man. What is a real man? Most of us don't even know what's real anymore, because we've seen so much artificial stuff ever since the cartoons, spirit songs that have been singing to us, putting out frequencies, showing us images and colors and all those lights ever since we was children. And then we have these holidays and we sing these songs. You don't even know where these holiday songs come from. They're all putting you into spell. They're death marches, all of them. Happy birthday. You sing that, which is a death march. Then after that, you're going to try to do Stevie Wonder. Why not do Stevie Wonder first?
Yeah, we don't do that. We do the Stevie Wonder, man. Come on.
That's what we supposed to do. But I was at the thing the other day. It was all conscious people, and they started off with that sad song. I had to leave the room.
Oh, man.
All of these songs, all of these things that we've been involved with. And then when the holidays come, right, we want to take our new holidays that we created and put it on top of the old ones. They're all set up at specific times in the year. The most powerful holiday is happening right now. The solstice and the equinoxes. Those are times when something is changing in our atmosphere that you cannot refute. It's real. And it changes us. Because as the sun is high right now, I got a new song about to come out called The Sun. Y'all be waiting on it soon. It's about the connection between Sirius, the sun, and the earth. And what happens when they align between the 3rd and the 9th of July. Did you know there's a whole process between the 3rd and the 9th of July that causes independence? They call it Independence Day, like, you're independent from Britain. No, becoming independent from your old self. You can break free at that particular time because Sirius, the sun, and the earth are connected in a way where your solar plexus comes online and your solar plexus gets recharged because your solar plexus has been putting out light and energy all year round, and it becomes recharged in the summer. So you got to eat light foods. You got to eat summer foods. That's why that watermelon is charging us up, because that watermelon is giving us real oxygen and real water. And you need water and salt to make electricity. They tell you you eating too much salt, you're going to get high blood pressure. Which salt we talking about? You see, so there's a lot of things that are happening right now that begin at this particular time. But we can't go out living off seedless stuff, seedless ideas, eating seedless fruit, and ideas that sound really powerful, but you can't do nothing with it. That's seedless. It's a seedless idea. Sounds great. You learned a special meditation, but your life didn't change. Let's do something that definitely changes everything.
Hey, Doc, you know how you just mentioned the Bible, And I wonder, do you think, is it a possibility that, because I know that you said the current domestic cat that we have is it was a hybrid. It was created, the Egyptians, spliced it, or whatever term you use for the how they created with
Grafted.
grafted with the snake and different animals. Do you think, speaking of the Bible, it's possible that the snake that deceived Eve had something to do with toxoplasma?
That's what they're talking about. That's what they're talking about. It's a story that the things in these holy books. First of all, let me say this much before we get too deep. Everything in the holy books is real. It's real because people made it real. If you believe something strong enough, it's real. If you believe that the poison water could kill you and you drink it, you'll die. But there's some people that don't believe the water's poison and they drink it and they don't die. It's real. So we're not here to talk about people's religion and say that it's not true. It is true to them. That's what some people, you can't unplug them from the matrix. They'll die. Leave them alone. But the stories in these books are analogies about something. Analogies about good and evil and how you must represent the thing you're reading about. You must become the Christ. You must become the thing. You must become the Buddha or the Krishna or whatever it is you're looking up to. You must become it. These are stories about you and how you have the power. You see? So if you're out and you're in, you're in the Garden of Eden, and to make the woman look bad, she ends up having a conversation with the snake. Come on, man. What happened now? And he convinced her to go eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. This is an analogy. We're not going to get deep into it today. That means that man was supposed to stay dumb. And the woman talked to the snake and convinced, she was convinced that we could eat the fruit and get knowledge. And suddenly, the two people who didn't know good and evil, right? They didn't know good and evil. Suddenly, all of a sudden, they're evil because they did something against their own nature, against the God self in them. Who knows what that was that they ate? A lot of stuff that you're eating, you shouldn't eat. But the reptilian mind, the lower you, the id, that will have you doing some things that you should have never been doing. Some of the foods you ate and what you're wearing. That's the reptilian mind. The reptilian mind, we all have a bit of it. It's the reptilian mind, the one that's about survival. And survival creates greed. Me, mine. The higher mind is the we mind. You see what I'm saying? That's the one we're all looking to be tapped in together, into that essence, that unknowing essence that connects us all together. So these books are analogies for you to learn something from. This knowledge is knowledge from the ancients that's supposed to give you the power to become who you truly are here to become. There's messages in all of it. The question is, what's true for you? The subconscious is the key. The gut bacteria is the key. Your bones vibrating at a certain frequency to keep you grounded is free. Earthing is real. Getting out there and getting that isn't it interesting that the lightning has to strike? Did you know that if lightning doesn't strike thousands of times every single day on this planet, that the atmosphere goes away? It's Father Sky, right? Connecting to Mother Earth. They're having a sexual relationship, an intercourse. Yeah. The spark of man and the magnetism of feminine is what creates life. But we all have the masculine and feminine in us. We all have the yin and the yang in us. It's that seam in between those two. What we have to do is get in between the gap and create a sacred gap. And in that gap, in that meditation, in that space where there's nothing, there's everything. That's where everything exists. That's what we're going to be doing next Sunday. So my highest choice is that a lot of you can come. And it's, it's a smaller space. So, please, it's get there as soon as you can. So the urgency is to get the ticket as quick as you can. Because I know a lot of folks are going to want to be there because This is it. And this is the space and time. Somebody said, well, Dr. B, you should be doing it on the solstice. How you going to tell me when I'm supposed to be doing this? I'm listening to a group of beings you don't even know. They telling me when to do it. I'm not supposed to do it on the solstice. I'm supposed to wait a certain amount of time after it, when the sun is already traveling in a different direction. There's certain sacred laws that we're all receiving. I am tapped into a certain group of beings that are talking to me, living in me. And it is challenging, brother. I'll tell you, it's challenging. You know, to be hearing the voices and to have this stuff in your head. That's why a lot of people end up on drugs. They get caught up in all these bad habits and hypersexuality and all this stuff because you're trying to get away from yourself. Because there's very few techniques out here that really tap us in to the core, the real us. And that's what we're doing right now. Is we have an opportunity in 2025 to tap into the core. We didn't have this last year. Mm-hmm. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. But my highest choice is that, you know, we all come together and love us and respect each other. We musicians, we need to get together and play. I was out there in your neighborhood on last Saturday, Brother Rich, trying to find you. Man, I drove up and down every street. I didn't even know where you lived. I just felt I could feel your energy. I called you, but you didn't call back. I guess it wasn't the right time. But I'm looking to work with people who are really ready to be people again and stop being humans. Humans and people is two different things. Let's wake up. Let's tune up our instrument. This is our body, and we're connected. We're all connected in a thing called love. We must become lovers again and learn how to make love out of the things that are not love. But if you can, go to elevationtime.com and get on our email list at elevationtime.com. Please come to our free workshop on Saturday. I'm going to talk more about this subject and give you some specific things that you can do. That's this Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to elevationtime.com. You'll see it right there. And also sign up for our event that will be next Sunday. Then it'll be powerful. And if you're going, go to the mountain. Go, you know, whenever Brother Rich is doing something, just go. Whenever Brother Rich calls me, you can't say no. You have to say yes, because the cats, I'm going to sum it up here. He was made sick. This is after he told me the story. He came to me. Why he was made sick by the cat. Because for his brain to totally develop so that he could be here to do this, he had to become clear channel. And some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Brother Rich is clear channel. Look at his eyes. Look at his face. I met his son one day and he looked at me like, I know who you are, and I ain't got no time for this. I'm on a whole nother level. And his name is Sirius. He wasn't no joke. Brother Rich, and a lot of you, something made you sick or something happened in your life that you might have called it a cataclysm or something bad, but it actually saved you from something else. Because Brother Rich is allergic to the cat energy, right? He has this knowledge. His brain, he don't have toxoplasma. I can look right in your eyes and tell you if you got toxoplasma, the way you move and the way you talk, your countenance. There's little micro expressions that everybody with toxoplasma, which is 70% of the people that I've met, they have it. Even our conscious leaders. Some of them, I told them, hey, man, you need to come see me. Oh, man, Doc, I got my own herbs. You know, I do. Okay. I ain't trying to convince you. I'm just telling you, I got something for you that you don't have, because you didn't have this. This thing happened to you down in 1996. Brother Rich is now at the level of clear channel. He was so pumped up last night with Brother Billy, I didn't even know what was happening. His eyes were stretching. He was moving in his tone. And I've always said he's the greatest hype man. He went past hype. He was gone. He was in them pyramids. You see what I'm saying? He's not about going. He was there. Yeah. So we all love you, brother. And you know, we sometimes we don't always show it and we don't always say it. We respect you and the different people that you bring on, and just, you know, you let people talk. You give people a voice at a time when a lot of folks are voiceless. So I'm grateful for you and all the people like you on the planet. There's a lot of us right now that are really exercising our voices. The fifth chakra is the key. The fifth chakra is the one that was shut down in everybody. The fifth chakra. We're going to talk about that next Sunday too, how to revive your fifth chakra instantly. None of this 20 years practicing meditation. This is in minutes. So we're going to share all that. So, brother, thank you very much. And I'm glad. Thanks to the cat people and the beings that got you out of there. And you got rid of, what was the cat's name again?
Corey.
Who?
Corey.
They gave a cat a human name. Don't be giving these cats human names. You know what I'm saying? Corey the cat. He grabbed you good. So thank you, brother, for all that you do. Thank you for your family, your ancestors, and all that you bring. And I hope my highest choice is that you'll be there on Sunday for our event. You're our special guest if you'd like to come.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass through
to experience this.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass through on Sunday. Everybody, we're gonna be at Stone Mountain Saturday, 5:45. If you are still in town Sunday, I'll definitely pass through Dr. B's event. I'm already in Stone Mountain, so it's not far from where I'm at. But yeah, I will definitely pass through Sunday. A couple of things before you get out of here, Dr. B. I just one or two or three more questions, and it don't have to be long-winded answers. Just I just want to get through it real quick because I see there's something I want to ask real quick that I seen somebody had asked, and I want to mention something as well. Somebody, I thought I saved the question. Damn, I did not save the question. Somebody in the chat, I don't know where your question at, whoever you are, thanks for bringing it up. Somebody said, don't see it. Does parasites cause hypersexuality? And it's funny that they asked that, and you're talking about this because the sister Yaya that was on the show, she did a Instagram post one time. Shout out to Yaya, I gotta call her Yaya777, and she had said some people think they got strong sex drives and they're proud. They're like, yeah, my sex drive is it. And she's like, those is parasites. You think that strong sex drive you got? Those are some parasites that you dealing with. So could you touch on the question in the chat? The question was, does the parasites cause this? And I don't want to say like I'm against the strong sex drive because that shouldn't be illegal to have a strong sex. We supposed to have, we supposed to get up in the morning, Dr. B, as men, and be and be able to perform when we got to perform. So talk to me about the connection with parasites and strong sex drive, my brother.
Having a strong sex drive to someone who you really truly love and are connected to,
okay,
that is within harmony. That's because we're looking to come together and do that alchemy to create more. Because when two people come together, they create a third entity. Two auric fields come together, it creates a third one. And when you are intimate, you are creating an auric field that becomes what they call an energetic orb or an angel. Energetically, not the physical baby, but the energetic baby, which should be full of your desires. What do you like? So when you're making love, you should be focusing on what you would like to manifest each time. Okay. The problem here is when you just want to be with everything moving. Everything is sex. Anybody, everybody. Freak offs is just the normal. They talk about your boy with the freak offs. That's just one person. That's one. Do you know how big that is? Do you know? Well, you don't know. Well, you might know. Some of y'all know how many freak offs is going on at this moment. In fact, now, since they heard about freak offs every day in the news, and this whole story is about freak offs, people is creating freak offs. They got freak off churches. It's okay to freak off. Man, shit, he was a billionaire freaking off. Maybe he was manifesting. Bro, it's a game. It's a twist. We must focus on love and true connection. Not just as soon as we see each other, we're just supposed to just be wild with everybody. It's in all this. Most of the commercial music is just, you strip away all this hypersexuality in these outfits and all this polyester hair, polyester butts, polyester this, polyester lashes. Take all this fake stuff away, and that artist might not even have no talent. You may not even want to hear him sing. Take the voice box off of him. You know what I'm saying? Just raw talent. So what we're doing is looking at this thing about how sexy they are. And a lot of times it's not sexy, it's nasty. It's diverted. This is the soul catchers attempting to have you what creates so much trash that you never can break their spell.
All
And
right.
that is parasites. And that is, like I said, parasites trying to get from one person to another. That's how they travel. They'll use you as a vehicle.
Right. Let me see. Somebody is asking. So is the Stone Mountain event free? I saw now it's a whole event weekend. LOL. I was thinking it was just the Stone Mountain walk. Yeah, it's up to you. We're just giving people well, not weird. Other people are having events. Like I don't have anything else going on, but I know Sharif got something going on. We're giving people options for some people coming to town and they just don't want to do a Stone Mountain walk. They want to engage in other events. People are coming from out of town. So people have options of things they wish to participate in if they want to. Friday, I know Red and Blue, they got something going on at what's that? At the bookstore, gallery something. I forgot the exact name, but y'all could contact them. They got something happening Friday. Saturday, Sharif got something going on. After the Stone Mountain, Sunday, Dr. B got something going on. So it's just options that you have. The main event, is Saturday at 5:45 a.m. in the morning. But like I said, just options for people who come into town. They want to experience Atlanta and just be around the energy for a bit more than just a Stone Mountain hike. So you got options, you got options, people, y'all always worrying about something free, boy. I tell you, yeah. Y'all always like, I thought it was free. Yes, you don't have to pay to go on the Action Mountain, but like I said, just options, my brother or my sister, just options that you have for that weekend. Somebody wants to know, can you cure toxoplasma? That's what he was talking about with his detox, y'all. He was just talking about with the detox. Tell him the website one more time, Dr. B.
Elevationtime.com. And we have a program called the Elevated Total Body Program. There's a total body program that's not going to stop toxoplasma. It's the Elevated Total Body Program that can help interrupt the frequency, because these animals, these beings have to communicate through frequency. So it begins to break their antennas or their receptors so they will actually be absorbed into the body. We can't necessarily kill it. All we're doing is keeping it from being able to mate and connect with others. That's the Elevated Total Body Program. And if you truly have toxoplasma, then you may need to do this for 3 months, 3 moon cycles to break that vibration. But it's not about curing anything. It's about getting your body's immune system to the point where it could change its frequency, because it's in the brain. So most herbs and things cannot pass the blood-brain barrier. It would fry your brain. But you can change the frequency of your blood, of your lymphatic system, which is the lymphatic system of your brain. There's an exercise that you can do right behind under your ear where your jaw is, and just rub this to get the lymphatic fluids, the lymphatic fluid to detoxify your brain. You see? But that's a whole thing of how to change the frequency of your entire body so that these beings now can turn down their frequency and begin to leave.
Okay.
Elevated Total Body Program at elevationtime.com. Join the email list, and also you'll see the events, and there's lots of things there.
Family.
For those of you who would like to have a super sex life, there's some products there for you too.
Yeah, you do got some you got that passion, right?
Well, this passion gets you passionate about love and peace and harmony and even creativity. Then there's a sacred womb for the women to help their womb vibrate and help to balance their hormones. There's a timeless man, which comes in the male cleanse, that helps the men with the circulation and vibrate, keep their hormones high. But then there's one called Rise and Shine for the men. If you're having interesting issues with your flagpole, Rise and Shine. It helps you rise and shine. Everyone is happy with Rise and Shine. It doesn't fix anything, but it causes you to have the electricity to strike Mother Earth.
I'm not trying to dictate things y'all say, but brothers, please, and sisters, please stop saying y'all broke. Please don't say that, Roy. Roy said, damn, I'm broke. I only got water to fast, Dr. B. Roy, don't say that, Roy. That's a lie. That's an impossibility. We can never be broke, Roy.
If you said right now,
I'm not trying to take light of what you're going through, brother, but but go ahead, Dr. B.
And some people are going through a lot, and
Yeah, exactly. I'm not.
and we send some energy to all of them.
Yes.
But it's interesting. If we said there's a pot of gold and it costs this much for all of us to go, and in the North Georgia mountains, there is gold. There's more gold than probably anywhere else in the United States in the North Georgia mountains. If we said we're going on a gold hunt, and this is what it costs to go, the people who saying that they don't have anything would find it.
That's a good one. I like that one. That's a good one, Doc.
You would find it. You would beg, borrow. And some people say, well, Doc, why are you charging so much? Listen, if you knew what it costs to do this, what it takes. When I do these things like this one that we're going to do, the reason why I don't do it often, Brother Rich, because for 3-4 days, I'm through. I can't do nothing because it takes so much energy to conjure this, to go and break these spells. This is spell breaking on a whole nother level. We're going to do a spell breaking thing. I don't like to do it, but I was asked to do it. I was taught, I was ordered by people who are above me. You're going to do it, Dr. B. And it's, we've got staff, we've got to do this, we're renting a space, so it costs, and we're investing, and normally it would cost 4 times as much or 3 times as much as what we're asking to do this individually, because we do it individually once in a while. So this is a special group, offering. If you can do it, cool. It won't be live stream, it won't be no cell phones able to be in there. We got to leave all that stuff outside, because we're tapping in at another level. And if you can't make it, it's okay. And it's all right. Next time we're going to be doing this maybe quarterly now. So, because there's a gate that's open, which we'll talk about. So, to a lot of you who are saying you're broke, let's stop saying it. There's a language to actually attract more income. But we've got to watch the language, because it's not totally true.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm glad you brought that up. When you talked about conjuring, some people don't understand. I want you to realize what Dr. B meant and how serious he is when he says, to conjure up, to do certain things, it takes a lot out of you. And then when it's over, you have to recover. You have to get your energy back. And one thing you just brought up is the, everybody says I'm this amazing hype man. And that's a current way. And, shout out to Mr. G. He helped me understand this. Being a hype man is a more spiritual way of saying it is I'm giving y'all my light. I'm giving my light. If I'm hyping up Billy, I'm giving Billy my light. And Mr. G helped me understand. He was like, "You're rich, that's your light." And, they call Lucifer the light bringer, or they call Christ the light bringer. I'm bringing an enormous amount of light on the show, and I'm shining it on other people, or I'm shining it on the Stone Mountain trip, or an event I have. I'm constantly putting my light in different areas through my excitement, and y'all feel it through the computer. Y'all can feel it. And after I'll just give y'all an example about how this thing works. After the show I did with Keys, I did a show with Keys on Monday with Keys, 19 Keys, Blue Pill, B-Dell, and I think Sharif. And I'm so, I'm so hyped. I'm so on it, because I'm so passionate about the Stone Mountain trip, and I'm happy that I'm putting together. I'm proud that I'm able to gather all the biggest names in the spiritual community to come out and support my event. And I'm so hyped. And then I was supposed to do a show the next day. And I called Billy, and I was like, "Billy, let's do the show on Wednesday." I had to just recover. From that show, because the light there's a reason why my events or anything I do is successful. The amount of light that I let out, it could be very draining. And this is why sometimes during the daytime, I don't even pick up my phone. I save my energy for my shows. And I mainly it's a boring lifestyle when you have a certain level of spirituality. It's boring to the average person, but it's fun to you. I don't have much contact with the outside world, because that takes away from my energy. So my energy usually goes to my family, my lady, my son, my daughter, and just this right here. What I do for this my YouTube show and channel, and any other things that I got going on. But that's just a lesson, family. We got to be very, you wouldn't just have let anybody have access to your ATM machine, to your your ATM password, because you understand that's your money. We need to start thinking about that way about our currency, our light. That's the real currency. So I'm very mindful of how I use my light, and I use it a large portion of it to do this show. So I'm thankful for when Dr. B says that and he realizes. But yeah, being a hype man, it's a lot of light that goes into it. So I'm glad that you notice it. Shout out to Mr. G. He helped me understand. Mr. G, I gotta tell y'all, he's way more spiritual than he smile. He's like the Joker. He just acts like he's joking and shit like that. But if you ever have a conversation with him, dude is super deep. And he helped me realize a lot of things about myself. So shout out to Mr. G. But just want to let you know like how this thing really goes when you're dealing with spirit, tapping into spirituality,
And you mentioned currency.
Yeah.
Can you see the current? Currency has to do with being right now, to being current, to be highly electrical right now, and to see the flow of energy. Currency has to, can you truly see the flow that you are? And once you understand your flow state and you can stay in it, no matter what the weather is, no matter how crazy the world gets, no matter what other people are doing, you're in your space. You've become an indivisible individual. When you've become an indivisible individual, oh, you can walk on water now, and you begin to know what that means. You can now rise to the level that you need to. You know how to know when and when to know how. You know when to speak and when not to speak. You're not moved. You're not super emotional, but you're loving and caring and passionate at the right time. If you were to say right now, I am attracting, right, everything that I need to be successful. Instead of saying, I'm broke, I'm hurt, I'm in pain, I am attracting. I am attractive. I allow myself to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. I allow, just that frequency right there is so deep. I'll allow. It's the frequency of the words. When we say we're broke, the whole system says, you heard it. The boss says we're broke. Now the soul catchers say, okay, get a better grip on them because they're broken. Don't be broke. You may say, I don't have it right now, or I'm collecting it, or I'm attracting. Be attractive. Attracted. And imagine it as if it's already here. Feel it as if it's happening. Somebody right now may not have what it takes to do something. They don't have the money, but they'll go into a meditation, and if you could taste it and feel it and smell it as if it's already here, bing, all of a sudden something happens. It's like magic because you've tapped into the quantum world. It's called spell casting. It's called wave casting too. You're casting into that quantum field and you're becoming your higher, better self by imagining it and feeling it as if it's here now and not looking at what you don't have. Let's look at what you do have. You have your breath, and that's everything.
Indeed. Hey, Dr. B, let me ask you real quick. You got all these herbs and stuff, and we talk about the breath. And do you use, like, in your home, do you have like humidifiers and purifiers? Like, how do you cleanse the air in your home? What's some of the things Dr. B does to cleanse the air in his home?
First of all, in the air conditioning systems, I have carbon filters. You have the filters that you're supposed to change.
Yeah.
You have carbon-based filters that catches all the electrostatic energy and the small particles of dust. It gets caught into this carbon filter.
So you ain't telling me that, man. Why you ain't telling me that for, man? Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
All of our places are called clean homes. All the places that in fact, we have a business that we're starting. We're helping people build clean homes. We come in and we even got the device that you put into your air conditioner, which puts ultraviolet light and it sucks up all of the microparticles, all of the energy that's disagreeable into this. It's actually an electronic device that goes inside your air conditioner. It's an electrostatic device, and it makes all dust. Like right now, if I had some dust and or some smoke, if I lit a match,
Mhm.
the smoke would just disappear.
Mm.
If you take dust and throw it in the air, it just falls to the ground really quick because all the air is being electrostatically charged.
Mhm.
So we have those devices. Then I have things like this, these little devices around me right now,
Mhm.
which is changing the frequency of this device we call the computer.
Mm.
We have those devices. So we have all of these things that if you're interested in that, let me know. In fact, there's a few of them on the website at elevationtime.com, but they're always out of stock.
Mm.
We got a device that changes the electromagnetic waves frequencies of everything in your house.
You told me, I never got that. You told me about that.
Bro,
Oh man, you told me
bro.
about that. I never
When I ordered it the first time, because I didn't even know if it worked,
Damn.
the mailman said, "Man, what's in this box?" I said, "What do you mean?" I mean, something's happening, bro. I felt so happy and so good in this box. He said, I don't know what it is. I said, "Well, how'd you know it was this box?" He said, "Because every time I pick up this box, I just smile and I feel good. And I don't buy no junk food during the day." There's a device that you can put in your house. There's one for apartments, there's one for homes. I have one on my keychain. Where's my keychain? I don't have my keys right here. That you put on your keychain. Mm-hmm. And for 15 feet around you, it creates this bubble, the electrostatic bubble that keeps all 5G, 4G, there's 6G now too. All of that stuff off of you. It doesn't get rid of it. And there's a device in my phone. If I call you, when I call you, Brother Rich, this is how powerful this is. When I call you or anybody, this device that's in my phone changes the frequency of the phone. Now your phone is not emitting any disagreeable radiation. Did you hear what I just said? Anybody I call with this thing in my phone, and you can prove it. We've tested it. We've done double-blind studies that this device, which is a quantum physics device, it doesn't block radiation. If something says it blocks radiation, it ain't right because your phone would work. How's your phone work? The phone is radiation. That's how you're talking to people. What we want to do is cancel, cut, delete, and clear. What we're doing is we're changing the frequency of radiation. See, radiation has two sides. There's life-giving radiation and there's life-taking radiation. The sun is putting out life-giving radiation. Everything is radioactive. You are radioactive. You're Radiohead Rich. You're radioactive. You was really radioactive yesterday, brother. You was, whoo. But what I'm saying is two sides to everything. All you got to do is learn how to change the frequency. Once you learn how to change the frequency and transduce it and do the alchemy, you can walk on fire. We walked on fire and glass and everything. I'll never forget that. I don't know if I could do it today, but when I was younger, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that these devices are available. So we have some on our website, but they're out of stock. But you'll see there where it says the website to go to, the manufacturer, to buy these devices. It's a whole website full of these devices that are from Germany, made by these people. And it's like they've been tested over and over and over. So, Brother Billy, he's got them at his places and stuff. We brought him down there. And he actually met the guy who manufactures this stuff. This dude is from a whole nother dimension. So we have those devices, but there's also one that you put on the water pipe. You put this thing on your water pipe, your inlet pipe to your house, and all of the water in your house becomes crystallized, like the Dr. Emoto water with the beautiful stars. It creates that type of balanced harmonic water. Now, it doesn't get rid of the poison. The poison is still in it because it's not a filter, but it changes the frequency of the heavy metals and toxins so that you can pee them out quicker. It's about changing the polarity. Just like herbs, a lot of herbs are poisonous. A lot of herbs actually have it's the frequency, how you use them, how you charge them. So it's all about intention. So yeah, we have those devices. We have stuff on the houses, and we're actually, if somebody would like to have a clean home, and we actually can, send a crew out and, put all the devices in the floor and everything to make that house, more of a clean home. Indeed. And we're actually building this. We'll actually have a website soon, so we'll be making an announcement for those who would like to, protect their family even better.
Excellent. Dr. B, man, I want to thank you once again for coming on the show, man. It's good to have you back on the channel, man. We ain't see you in a while, Doc.
Well, I'm back now. Now, next time I come on, we'll have the music. The music, man, the new
Man.
music. Whoo! The new music. Even my mind is blown. I went outside of myself. And it's at this time, music is important. And that's why they're jamming all this junk down your brain, in your brain, to cause you to miss the mark. To live in sin means to miss the mark. It's an archery term. And so many people are missing the mark. And that's okay, because they're not supposed to. Only the few, only the chosen few who choose themselves are ever going to be the ones who can change everything and be here for the new world, because this world is definitely gone. It's over. But a new world is rising. Be the seeds of the new world. Much love to you all. Much harmony. Thank you, Brother Rich, for having me. Thank me for the audience and all of you who have participated over the many years. And those of you who have gone to our website and donated. And we're building. Let's stay together in oneness. Travel light, right? Because most of that luggage is not yours.
I love when you say that. Doc, thanks, my brother. Peace and blessings.
Thank you very much. Travel light.
Peace. Family, just one quick thing before we get out of here. Tomorrow night, Vicky Dillard will be live. So tomorrow night, we're going to end the week with Vicky Dillard. She will be live at 9 p.m. All right. So tune in 9 p.m. for the Queen Vicky tomorrow night. And then we're going to take a break during the weekend. And I'll see y'all next week. It's 1 week left to Stone Mountain. We are now traveling at these grid points, these meridians all over the planet. If you was on the show last night, you would know that we will be in Egypt. We're doing Kemet in 2027. The reason why I'm doing this trip with Billy is because he has access to what no other tour has access to in Kemet. So, I don't know how he got that much access, but Billy got hella access. Some of the places we're going to be, none of the tourists, like you know how the Sphinx got the paws. Like, we're going to be in that enclosure right there. And all the other tourists, there's a gate that closes it off. They're allowed to go around it. We're going to be inside. We're going to be inside we're going to be on the inside. So every other tour, you can't get that close. But Billy got access to get to certain places that no other place has access to. He got peoples out there that he got a team out there. So he got a team out there that he's working with that is giving him access to all this stuff that you can't get nowhere else. So make sure y'all sign up. Shout out to Slim in Your Bay. That's one of the regular. Shout out to you. That is that is something that's going to make this trip awesome. The fact that I know that 90% of the people that visit Kemet are not going to see what we're going to see when we go there. So it's a very, very unique tour. It's a tour unlike any other tour. So shout out to him for lining that up. And I look forward to bringing my crew out there. He often does his tours with people on his channel. And I'm glad that I'm able to bring my people from my channel out there. We got 2 years. I said I want to get the people's 2 years. But, it's very limited with the tickets because this is a big trip. So don't wait too long. There's different payment options. You could do something monthly. You could break it up into 4 payments. There's different things you could do. But we'll talk more about that. We're definitely going to talk more about that. But thanks to everybody. Somebody said for the partial payments, is it cash only? Go to the website. I think they got all the information on the website. King Simon is sharing the link. But we will be there. All right, somebody said we will. Yeah. Make sure, like I said, family, make sure you just get your tickets as soon as possible. I'm gonna form as soon as there's enough people. Let's say maybe about 50 people. I'll create the Discord so we can start the chat. And that Discord will probably be the only Discord I have open. I'm gonna have more. I might open up another. But yeah, that's gonna be the main Discord running that for the next 2 years for all of us to just we're really gonna be tapping into some high frequency shit on that Discord. We're gonna do a lot of things just to prepare us mentally and spiritually for the trip. We're gonna be, yeah, we're gonna be super. We're gonna be super lit by the time we go there in 2027. We're gonna be super tapped in, and we all gonna make sure of it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, let me see what y'all talking about. Once again, shout out to King Sam. Yeah, let me get out of here because yeah, I got Vicky on tomorrow. That's gonna be fire. I think that one's called Mothership Transmissions. Woohoo! Tomorrow's gonna be called Mothership Transmissions. You know, Vicky coming with that divine feminine energy, but it's Mothership Transmissions tomorrow night. Shout out to Vicky Dillard and family. I will see you tomorrow. I told you I went to the Wu-Tang concert, y'all. I got the Wu-Tang hat. I went last week to the Wu-Tang concert. It was dope. It was dope down here in Georgia. Family, I'm gonna see you tomorrow. It's gonna be a fire show. Vicky Dillard, Mothership Transmissions. Tune in tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. All right. Peace, family.